TV viewers, I'd like you to join me as I welcome Mr. Sowore. Honorable, it's a pleasure having you. Sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Let me start with this, sir. In South Africa,
yes.
How has been your stay?
It's great. It's a reminiscence of how South Africa used to be a place that's a bastion for struggle against apartheid. And I feel at home here because we need to defeat our own apartheid at home as well. And it's also interesting that you have a very vibrant community of Nigerians here in South Africa who are doing great things and who are well connected and interested in the progress of politics back at home in Nigeria. So it's been an exciting experience.
Okay, going into the real business, sir, what inspired you, being a journalist and a great activist, a political activist, what really inspired you in deciding to take on this big political ambition?
Something has to do with ensuring that we take a different course in Nigeria, and I have a feeling that my activism has been engaging with how things could change over these years, and things haven't really changed in a way that I'm satisfied with, and a lot of Nigerians are not satisfied with them. And I just believe that I can bring my activism and my passion and my commitment to change the way things are going in Nigeria. And the best place and the best way to change things is to engage with the biggest office in the land with clarity. And this is what made me to decide I'll do this. Other factors are, of course, the fact that I'm tired, like everyone else, of allowing other people, borrowed hands, borrowed voices, to lead me astray and to lead me in a manner that doesn't benefit me, don't benefit my generation, and is not likely to benefit the future. So that decision came as a result of the need to change also the leadership in the land. And I can tell you that we have the blessing of most Nigerians on this. We have the support, and a lot of people are committed to ensuring that in our lifetime we change the trajectory of leadership in Nigeria.
Thank you so much, sir. Listening to some of your conversation on media, you said sometimes that you have come with a lot of varieties in fixing Nigeria.
Yes.
Can you please expatiate?
Well, the varieties are part of what we have released as our manifesto.
Okay.
But there's also another variety which has to do with character, competence, integrity, and competence. I'm sorry, I said character, competence, integrity, and capacity. That I know that I'm capable of delivering on those things. But what are those things? One is that we must fix Nigeria on the level of security. Make sure that the bloodletting in the land is stopped with immediate effect, and non-state actors who have been unleashing terror in Nigeria are put out of business and put to shame. Secondly, is to bring to bear Nigeria electricity, power. It's a big deal to me because without that, we cannot even make a dent on this, a lot that needs to be done in securing Nigeria's future and ensuring that Nigeria can produce and support its population. Third, of course, is infrastructure. The fourth is to fight corruption until it is no longer a threat to Nigeria and Nigerians. We also have an agenda to fix the Nigerian economy by way of, a newly defined political economy for Nigeria that deals exclusively on how to lift Nigerians out of poverty and misery by providing employment and also energizing and enabling those things that will make our economy work for the people of Nigeria. It including their purchasing power. It includes security, providing jobs, fixing the education sector, health, agriculture, and tourism. Those are the things that have to happen side by side as we come in immediately, and we just can't wait. There are also offerings from Nigerians who have signed up onto this, who are all over the world, including our great brothers and sisters in Diaspora, who've got expertise that can be used to turn the Nigerian economy or the Nigerian nation around. But they don't even want to come home because Nigeria is not welcoming to anyone, whether you're a Nigerian or a non-Nigerian at this time.
That's true. On this note, sir, I would like to ask you, what are your political ideologies?
Well, I don't want to bog anybody down with any conversation about political ideology, but I'll give you an analogy.
Thank you.
And yes, and that is, I look at China, for example, as an example. Today, if you look at China, from the point of view of a Chinese person who is completely able to work very hard to turn things around and represent his country in a different way. When I say China, what used to be the political ideology of China? When it was convenient for them, they practiced communism. Then later they did some socialism, which is this narrow version of communism. When it was convenient, they became capitalists. And now you can almost say that China has become not only a capitalist society, but also a welfare state, taking care of its people. And that is what I think our political ideology should be, is how to take care of Nigerians. And whatever then comes out of this passionate desire to make sure that Nigerians are the focus of economic development, progress, prosperity and peace. You can call it whatever ideology you want to call it at that point. So I'd rather wait to do something first, because I have been around long enough to know that people throw around buzzwords about their ideological commitment and things like that. They don't have any bearing or meaning on how people are living their lives. They have not brought about any changes in life, so it's just what I call paper tigerism, and when you throw ideologies that don't work by way of rhetorics, they call you an ideologue, and it's not necessarily a nice thing.
All right, sir. Having seen the movement, Take It Back,
yes,
and the vast acceptance of the diasporas,
yes,
what are your measures in putting in place the diaspora voting on 2019?
It's regrettable that the Nigerian diaspora community that forms what you could call the biggest foreign investors into Nigeria have not had a chance to choose the leaders of the country. These people have some of the best patriots you can find anywhere in the world. Regardless of how well they are doing, they don't forget home. In fact, I've described them as the social security department of Nigeria, helping to send children to school, sometimes having to build roads, schools, hospitals, helping people with medical bills, wedding, financing wedding, and all kinds of support that they give to the people at home or they give to their country. Regardless, also, some of them never abandon Nigeria. They engage in social causes, political causes. You imagine that people who send home some $50 billion every year would at least have a right to vote. 12 million of them. But they don't care about us.
That's true.
And what we do is to care about the diaspora community first. As soon as we come in, it is a must that bill or the law to allow them vote will be passed by us. I've been in diaspora for 19 years, so I understand the importance of letting them feel part of the Nigerian experiment. I'm experienced to it.
In other words, what you just said now means come 2019,
yes,
the vision might not be feasible.
I have no power right now to do that. I wish I could. And this is sometimes the reason why I tell our diasporan brothers and sisters that sometimes there's nothing wrong with activism. I'd actually propose that we have a worldwide protest in those days for every Nigerian diaspora person to bond together and go protest and shut down the embassies and consulate until we're allowed to vote. But a lot of our brothers didn't take me serious at that point, so they might have to wait until we win before.
Sorry, sir. Still on what you just said now, I remember some hours ago I was having a conversation with one of the diasporas, but he made mention of something which I would like to bring to your notice. Yes. He said, tell Sowore to come to us, the Igbos, because the movement Take It Back has just been within the South. What are you putting in place? What are the measures putting in place?
It's not true. We have been a global movement that's all-encompassing. I agree that we should expand more and reach out to more people, and we will do that. But before we came to South Africa, we had visited all the 6 geopolitical zones in Nigeria, including the southeast. We were well received. We had one of our biggest crowds in Owerri, and we went to Aba, Umuahia, we went to Onitsha, and people were very receptive of our movement. They wanted, everybody's been looking for this. It used to be that they said we are not having good presence in the north. We just came from the northern part of Nigeria, and we went to Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara, Kano. We've been to Kaduna, where we have also a huge rally. We've been to Abuja, which is the federal capital territory of Nigeria. We've been to Jos, Kogi. We went to Ilorin.
Yes.
We went as far as Taraba, Jalingo. All these places, you could see the reception, overwhelming. So we just need to do more. I agree completely with that we should reach out to more people. But it's become not only a nationwide movement, it has become a global movement. Because beyond going to Nigerian states and cities and villages, we are having engagements with people in the diaspora. And in the diaspora, we don't ask where you come from before we engage with you. So we have officers and supporters and volunteers who are from all tribes, and who are doing this without even recourse to tribe or religion or ethnicity.
That's powerful.
Yes.
I've heard you severally saying it's not about the party, but about the movement.
Yes.
Sir, I would like you to give an insight on the party. I know come this soonest now,
yes,
it will be unleashed, but I would like if you can just give an insight on the kind of party you are planning to ride on.
We will be announcing that on August 15th, but we expect something brand new, and something that people will be excited about, something that looks really great and attractive, and I would think represents the yearnings and aspirations of our people to have an opportunity to engage differently, politically speaking. So many of the existing parties have issues.
That's true.
Some of them have structural issues, some of them have baggages that we cannot afford to carry with them. But this also has to do with talking to other parties who have been coming along with us over time. And all of these groups will be included in the package. It's going to be a package that everybody will hope when we unveil it, will love it.
On this note, sir, I would like to ask you the issue of the camping, the present camping in the political atmosphere. What do you say to this?
I've described politicians in Nigeria as prostitutes. In political sense, you call them carpetbaggers, opportunists. They have 2 seasons within Nigeria political circle: the summer and winter, and they're always looking for summer. So this is the migratory season of migration of the carpetbaggers. They are cross-carpeting, but at the end of the day, it's not about anybody but what is there for them. But the good news is that they have also come full circle to a lot of people. They know that they will go back to the parties that they came from when the one that they created, the special vehicle party for looting Nigeria, falls apart. And I predicted that the ruling party was going to implode. It has already imploded. It's now exploding in clusters. And also had said that the old party that was there before, PDP, will form a coalition which is aimed at looting and robbing Nigerians once again, or Nigeria. And they have done that. They even went ahead and formed another coalition known as COP, that we call COP of Sorrow. But that coalition did not even take off very well before a lot of people start pulling out. But don't make any mistake about it. There is no difference between the 2 major political parties. That is why they have connections through the front door and the back door. So anyone that is not crossing for you to see they are crossing back and forth,
Directly.
within the back end. They're all the same. You won't be surprised. In fact, the dramatic nature of this season is such that some of them crossed to the other party yesterday, and the next day they came back to the main party again. Someone like, I think it's Teju Show in Lagos, the senator. Within 24 hours, they are crossed between
Two parties.
So that's what we call the locojarization of politics in Nigeria. Two political parties are met at Lokoja. They are not. When they go to Niger Delta, they are the same body of water. So they may just have different parts of arrival, but there will be a confluence of thieves, and then they move down into the Atlantic Ocean. So that's the way Nigeria is. They're like River Benue and River Niger. One is APC, one is PDP. They meet at Lokoja, then they start traveling together. And then they will become tributaries and creeks and lakes. It doesn't matter. It has no relevance. What we should look at is what they're about. And they're all about themselves and their stomach and their esophagus.
In one of your statements, you said, I have disrupted the media and now the political arms. Sir, what is the blueprint of your restructuring?
Restructuring is also a buzzword, and that's why I don't fall for it. I am totally in support of restructuring Nigeria. Nigeria has been around for too long and hasn't been restructured in a long time. But I'm very, very quick to say that the people who are calling for the restructuring of Nigeria have a history of restructuring Nigeria into their pockets. So I cannot join them in the call for restructuring. I don't think that we're on the same page as to the way I want to restructure Nigeria and the way they want Nigeria restructured. I've followed a lot of them. So many of the guys who are calling for restructuring, I studied about them in social studies in primary school. In secondary school, we studied them. When we go to university, we had to fight them. They don't care about you or me. To them, restructuring means different things to different people. But if you look at Nigeria's political arena, you find out that at every point in time, the political class has a way of bonding together around an issue that will bring them back into prominence when they feel alienated. And restructuring seems to be the latest, but they don't mean it. If they meant restructuring, some of them who are part of the restructuring movement were governors of states.
That's true.
That did not conduct local government elections in their states for 8 years.
So on this note, my audio.
Sorry. No problem. I'm in the media too, so I understand these things. Sometimes you put the wrong battery in the wrong place.
Okay.
Did you guys buy the battery from Nigeria?
No. Your take, are you serious about your take on before? Your take on Diaspora version that we should go to all the embassies?
You think you are going to get anything from Nigeria without doing something?
We've been pushing for this from here. We even held the press conference.
Yeah, wasting your time.
Don't work.
Check.
Audio check.
I'm coming. Do you need batteries? Joseph.
Maybe your own battery is dying.
Audio check.
I'll come.
So the question I'm relating to what you just said now is the drama with Honorable Shitu.
Don't call it honorable.
Yes.
There's nothing horrible about it.
Okay, was the radio?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I love that.
It was a kind of.
I
must commend.
He didn't believe himself.
No, I must really commend you the way you are pulling.
And he put diplomacy in. He was still respecting the man.
And
not
at the
being
same
arrogant about
eating.
The man was eating.
I'm running.
How many grams? 2.
People are running for the office of the first lady under the TakeItBack. Yes.
Under what?
Yeah, under the TakeItBack.
That's another group that should be fighting for restructuring of the first lady office, so that they can accommodate more people.
Okay.
So,
Now shall we go back?
Okay, that's off record, right?
Yes, we're live.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yes. That is why we have chosen a relaxing environment.
They said don't call Shitu honorable. Eh?
Okay, sir.
Just call him Shitu straight.
All right.
So
there's nothing honorable about them. There's nothing excellent about the excellencies.
He embarrassed himself.
On my count.
They will always
Okay,
do so.
I'm rolling, still rolling, and action.
On this note, sir, I remember I followed you on an online interview.
Yes.
Yes. With Commissioner for Communication.
Minister for
Communication,
Yeah.
Mr. Shitu.
Yeah.
He was like referring you to inconsequential politician.
Inconsequential,
You get it? What was he really driving at?
You know, there's a level of arrogance and cockiness that's associated with power in Nigeria. They can't see beyond their nose. The moment they get into office, everybody is inconsequential to them in Nigeria. What you're hearing directly from Shitu is the same way people at the top feel about the rest of us in Nigeria. It wasn't Shitu alone that said that. A few weeks after Shitu made that statement, Buhari himself went and said Nigerian youths are lazy.
That's
Remember?
True. That's true.
So it is the way they feel about us at the top. But I like the fact that he did what he did, and I like the fact that Buhari did what he said, or said what he said. Because I think it brought some kind of galvanization of energy, anger amongst young people in the country. Suddenly people want to feel very important, and they want to show it to them. And where we are today, some of those things made some significant contribution to the discourse that is going on in the land regarding how to take back political power or how to engage people in power. So that's how they feel. But most importantly, it tells you the quality of leaders we have. If someone as important as the Minister of Communication cannot communicate appropriately on a radio show, that tells you something.
All right, sir. On this note again, the geopolitical zoning in Nigeria.
Yes.
What is your take? When you emerge as the president, are you going to implement this or do otherwise?
No, the geopolitical zoning is nothing but what it is. It's a division of Nigeria into 6 zones for administrative political convenience. It doesn't mean that the zones exist as part of political architecture, really, because there is nobody that is referred to as the governor of the Southeast zone. It's just a generic way of saying, hey, this is who we are, we recognize it, and this is how we want to have our body politic interrelating by way of describing people within which we have established them to be. And this relationship has to do with similarities and differences that we recognize as part of our limitations and strengths. That's what they are. Nothing more than that. But the truth is that there's also another zone that is not part of the 6th geopolitical zone. And this is the zone of the disenfranchised, the zones of the abandoned, the zones of the unemployed, the zone of the abused, the zone of those who have been left out of our political discourse, the zones of those who have been impoverished by those who are operating the 6th other geopolitical zone. That's what I call Zone 7. That's where we are now.
Okay. Was there really a statement from you stating your scraping of the Senate when you get to the office of the presidency?
I know that the president of Nigeria cannot scrap the Senate.
Because it is unconstitutional.
It's not in the constitution. But I did say that if I have my way, we will scrap the Senate. The Senate is useless. The way I describe the Nigerian Senate is like appendix in our stomach. It's there, useful to you until it ruptures. If it ruptures, you have a problem because it's going to kill you. The Nigerian Senate has become no longer an appendix within our digestive system. It has become appendicitis. It has become a disease on our political system. And the only way to be happy and to be healthy is to find a way to cut it off. And the reason is simple. The Senate of Nigeria is a retirement home of thieves. They have become burdensome. They are the ones who are padding our budget. We are spending almost ₦1 trillion every year on this set of people. And what they do is a bunch of them are clowns, jokers who go around dancing, and they take home, don't justify their existence. An average senator in Nigeria take home allowances of 13-point-something million naira per month. That is equivalent to the salary of 720 civil servants, and they don't do anything. Some of them don't even come to work. So what am I proposing? That whenever we can, or whenever it is convenient for us, politically speaking, that we should take out the Senate and have a unicameral legislative system that is less expensive, and also make lawmaking a part-time business, so that people will not find it to be so attractive that they will go and kill for it and then do nothing for the country. That's all I propose, and I think people who are not radically thinking enough will not understand, because I haven't done their research. South Korea has a unicameral legislative system. They are doing so well. I think Finland, or one of the happiest countries in the world, they have a unicameral legislative arm of government. Even Senegal in 2014 abolished their own, and they are doing better. Today, Senegal just launched their second airport a few months ago, because they're able to divert resources, take resources that were wasted in that sector to help with other things. In our own case, we need the money we are wasting on the Senate, in the education sector, in the health sector, to build roads, to build infrastructure, in the power sector, and we will be happier for it. I don't understand why anybody is upset about something that is true. There is nobody I've met who doesn't agree with me that the Senate is useless. But they are saying that because it's in our constitution, I should not have talked about it. And I challenge them. Why do you call it your constitution? It's not your constitution. The Nigerian constitution is a fraudulent document that was imposed upon us by the military. You weren't there when the constitution was made. Nobody even sought your consent, when they made the constitution. They wrote that inside the constitution of Nigeria that we the people weren't there when the constitution was made. So, and all the things that we are asking for to restructure Nigeria require some changes. So I'm proposing, just like others are proposing state police, some are proposing regional government, parliamentary system. They are all not in our constitution. I'm proposing that while at it, we should all go change our constitution to reflect that we don't need a Senate that is a drain pipe and is a burden on all of us. Apart from their take-home pay, they extort money from ministries, departments, and agencies of government. That's one of the worst crimes. In the Nigerian Senate today, at least I know of 16 senators who are facing corruption charges. But the moment they finish as governors, they move to the Senate. It's almost automatic that any former governor who is interested in going to the Senate will get an automatic ticket. That's why I say it's a retirement home of thieves. And no country should provide a retirement home for its thieves or robbers. A retirement home for thieves should be prison, not the Senate.
Honorable sir, in the political cropping of Nigeria today,
I don't want you to call me honorable. I don't like the title.
Okay, let me rephrase.
There's nothing honorable about honorable people.
Let me rephrase myself, Mr. Sowore.
Yes, go ahead.
In the political cropping of Nigeria of today,
yes,
who amongst them would you work with when you emerge a position of the
We are working already with people who are going to emerge as the new leaders of Nigeria. So what we are doing is so huge, and that's why I invite people to be part of something big. Not only are we trying to take down the current establishments of fraud, the parasites, the vultures in our political system, we are creating a new crop of leaders. Those ones who were afraid to come out before are coming out. They are adding their voices to the conversation about our democracy. Let me describe it to you this way. Our democratic experiment is about to come full circle exactly 20 years after we started it. Do you know how it started? we fought as young people for the military to hand over power to civilians. It happened in 1999. Am I correct?
That's true.
So in 2003 and 2007, we had a problem. What was the problem? Our leaders wanted to practice Mugabeism on us. Obasanjo didn't want to go. We resolved that problem. That made people to have more belief in our democratic system. Is that correct?
That's true.
So what next happened? Obasanjo, out of anger and wickedness, went and imposed a sick person on Nigeria. And Nigerians decided that, well, 3 major tribes have been governing Nigeria democratically or undemocratically from the past. They want a minority person to be leader. Who was vice president? We fought for him. For the first time, Nigeria did the equational balancing of power, rotating between majority and minority. Is that not correct? Correct. The next one, we made sure and made it possible for there to be a transfer of power from one political party to the other peacefully in 2015. Is that not correct? That's correct. The next one now, which is more important, is to have a generational transfer of power from one useless generation to, hopefully and expectedly a responsive and responsible generation. From the analog generation to the digital generation. That is where we are at next, and it's about to happen 20 years later. That's a milestone that we must meet and fulfill in the coming election.
On this note, Mr. Sowore, in Nigeria,
yes,
are there any person as probably the heroes in Nigeria that have been motivating you?
There's a lot of people motivating me or that has motivated me. Without some of them, I probably wouldn't be sitting in front of you today. And these people started with my father, who was a teacher, who made sure that I got the right education that was available within his own means to be where I am today. My mom, who was a housewife, had plenty kids, but made sure that everything I needed was provided. And from there on, my teachers. I met one of them recently. One of them taught me biology. Highly motivated by my teachers, both in primary school and secondary school. One of my teachers in primary school, I haven't been able to find him. I hope he's alive. His name is a Kraken. He recommended that I be promoted from primary 4 to secondary school because he said, "You're way above your grade," and that's how my educational journey really kicked off. And the one that taught me biology and several other ones. But when I went to the university, I met people like Falano. He motivated me. He remains my lawyer from my first expulsion from the university today as a journalist, whatever you want to call it. People like Wole Soyinka, Gani Fawe, he had tremendous impact on my life. People like Chinua Achebe, his humility before he died. Met him several times in the US, read his book. They were heroes. People like Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all these people, you read all of these people together, you can't have better heroes than them. But I am looking for heroes among the crop of politicians we have today. I can't find any one of them. We've mostly had villains. And like I said, I read about some of them in primary school, and when I got to university, I had to protest against most of the leaders we have today. But it is high time that Nigeria moves in a direction that can create fresh heroes. We need them badly because this crop and present crop of leaders have been a bad influence on youth. That's an understatement.
On a final note, sir.
Okay, still rolling. I'm still rolling. Let's go. Standing by. Hold on. Okay, let's go. And action.
Still on the question, sir. Are you telling me that there are no one that you can still find a way of working with in the present political cropping in Nigeria?
I have told you I can't find anyone, but I'm working with people, young people, so many of them who are working on that ground right now. That's how we came about this movement. This movement is made up of real people. It's not a fluke.
On a final note, sir,
Yes.
what is your message to the Nigerian in diaspora?
Nigerians in diaspora, I would say, there's nothing like home. And I've been in diaspora for 19 years. And I decided that it's time to head home. But for you to go home, you must make your home a livable place. We must all join hands together to make Nigeria a livable place by re-engaging with Nigeria different than this time around, politically speaking. If we don't do it, nobody will do it for us. And I don't know if any one of you want to end up the way you came. But if you can create a Nigeria of our dreams, there will be a fantastic place to go back to. And we can take our children there, and we can attract other persons to come there and be proud of the country that we came from, as opposed to crying about the country that we're from. You know, like myself, that there's nothing out here that lasts forever. And I know most of you are itching to go back home. Follow me, support us, and let's go and prepare a place for all of us to return to. An everlasting place we can call our home, Nigeria. And also be part of the renaissance that's about to hit Africa with new leadership. And make the black race proud again. Thank you.
All right, viewers at home, it's been a wonderful time with Mr. Omoyele Sowore.